Episode 9, La Chica o El Mundo. Bring the camera down from the ceiling and rotate it around.
Rotate it around, so sci-fi.
Welcome to Pluribusters.
Episode 9. I'm Kate Dimbleby.
Hello, I'm Ru Howe.
And if you've been with us the whole series, welcome back. It's
To a-
Christmas Eve,
We're in a different location, an undisclosed location.
deep in the darkness of the countryside.
That's right.
Where are you? And do you
All
have
over the world, apparently.
a glass of something in your hand?
Here's to it's something crazy like 3,500 of you listen to the last episode. Hello, everybody. Thank you for all of your comments and amazing comments and thoughts and feedback that are making this experience of recording this little podcast with the two of us on our 360 camera very enjoyable. We started this series of Pluribusters. Here we are at the very end. We'll talk about the end in just a moment. We started this series of Pluribusters with the idea that
How long ago was it?
making you watch. It was now 7, 8, 9 weeks ago, whatever it was, beginning of November. And the idea was, I like sci-fi. You didn't like sci-fi. You'd missed out on watching Better Call Saul and most of Breaking Bad. And you were going to watch this and we were going to talk about it together and you were going to see how you felt about it. How do you feel about it now at the end of the first series?
I don't think this has been sci-fi. Like, I think as we got to the end of this episode,
Here we go.
I was like, okay, next season's going to be sci-fi. Next season's going to be all the people going, and zombies and people chasing each other.
Right.
But up until now, I mean, we've just literally come from watching it with our family, which we've never watched an episode with.
Yeah, a whole room full of people.
And, my 83-year-old mum kind of going, I don't know what's going on, but it's very interesting.
Yes.
And I think that's what I felt all the way through this, is like, I don't quite know what's going on, which is, again, my idea of sci-fi was that it was always some really spurious thing to do with Kepler and and aliens and, stuff that I don't relate to. And by the way, I did see a comment from someone on YouTube who was like, I don't understand people who aren't interested in the universe. I am interested in the universe.
Very.
I just have a limited, I don't know what it is. My chemistry doesn't kind of, aliens don't do it for me. I'm just going to say it that way.
Right. So alien worlds don't do it for you.
Yeah. But concepts of like, what's the soul, which is, what is a soul? What makes us human? What happens if we get taken over, and can we recognize that? That feels to me what this is dealing with. Pluribus has been dealing with. So, are we going to get straight in? Are you? Well, what about you? Are you, as a signed-up Vince Gilligan fan? Are you?
Wait, hold that thought for a second. Just before that thought, I just want to raise this camera up. So we're just going to pause for a little bit. Also, we haven't said we haven't said that this podcast is brought to you by Stornoway. But wait, hold on. No. So this podcast is brought to you by Stornoway. Make anything interactive. The incredible interactive video application that Kate and I both run in our day jobs.
Actual lives, rather than doing a podcast together. I mean, I think the thing that I'm feeling, probably a lot of people are feeling a bit sad that we've now got to wait 1.5 years until the next season.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling sad because it's given us something to talk about.
What, other than work?
Yes.
Well, now there's just going to be a gaping void in our lives.
Exactly. We'll have to find something to fill it.
So this is interesting. So beyond this, like we always said, we would just do some episodes until you weren't into it or we were bored. We'd see how it went and see what happened if anybody listened. So we got to episode 9 of the series. We've a steadily growing group of people we've really enjoyed talking to, you guys out there, and now it's just going to finish.
Yeah.
So our family want us to do a family episode where the whole family is like a family constellation all around, everybody's talking about it as a Christmas episode.
Yes.
We've talked about doing some other things. Do you think we'll do any more on this feed until 1.5 years' time?
Well, I'm interested in all of the stuff it's thrown up, like in a world where we only hear from each other as like opposite sides and politics and stuff. I feel like what's exciting about Pluribus is I don't feel anyone watching Pluribus would necessarily know, oh yes, this is all about the, we've had these conversations. Is it about AI? Is it about communism? Is it about this? It doesn't really sit anywhere. It is very much about what makes us human. And for me, that's a conversation I can have till I die.
as Jemima next door was just saying, our sister-in-law, we were just talking to after we were watching, it's kind of like this whole thing, it feels like an experiment, like a stunt.
Yes.
Like that they've decided to just make a show where there's just so little jeopardy, there's so little threat from no threat of any kind,
and
there's no antagonist. It's just like it's like an experiment in somehow making this thing really gripping
without drama.
I don't know what's happening. We talked about it being genre-defining TV when we started out, but I don't know what genre it's defining. It's just doing something. It feels like it's doing something new. When I was thinking about this today, I was thinking about our daughter's film dissertation, and she's, I won't go into what it's about, but it was about the nature of TV and film and how it's changed and how they portray certain characters. And I was thinking about that there are some things that are definitely new in long-form television that have appeared, and this is definitely something new.
In fact, somebody said on Spotify, one of my favourite comments was, here we go, MStam61, if a man was the lead, it would just be Lord of the Flies with naked supermodels. Women add strength and civility to the world, as my wife reminds me.
That's so good. I didn't read that. That's fantastic. I think that, this is the thing we've talked about this a couple of times. And that's what's so funny
about this episode is, of course, Carol becomes, it's that thing of like, do you want the girl or do you want to save the world? That would normally be asked of a hero.
Yeah. And Superman, it was so interesting watching it with the family and hearing the voices, because usually it's just you and me talking, and we have a slight hive mind, but like we're around the other people, and as they were going on their world trip, everybody was going, oh no, it's so awful. Nobody was there for the fact that she walked away from Manousos.
Yes.
And the fact that she was on this world tour with Zosha.
Well, I don't know.
I think somebody was saying she's just like the guy in Vegas.
Casanova.
Yeah. She, that there was an element where she's sold out and she's doing this thing and going around the world. And it was
Did we believe that though, or did we think that she was actually just having one last hurrah before she made
it took a little while, but as this was going through, they were saying maybe it's one last hurrah. But then there was that very lonely moment. And in fact, on the official podcast, they talked about how they were originally going to be doing it back at the hotel from episode 2, where they get everybody together, the beautiful place in Spain in the heat. And they couldn't do that, so they went to this place in -27 in big, whatever it's called, Montana. And they were in this house that looked like the house from whatever it's called, Mountain Head, but actually apparently it was a restaurant that they adapted, and it had that sort of loneliness.
Luxury.
I tell you what it reminded me of. It reminded me of the Alpine Lodge scene in my MetaQuest headset, and there is nothing lonelier than putting on a MetaQuest headset and sitting alone inside an Alpine Lodge.
Is that really, like, we've never talked about virtual reality or about that, and we've covered quite a lot about.
That's how irrelevant it is now.
Yeah. But it feels to me like the what is reality question, and what is it that one of the things that all the way through this, even with the picture on the front of the poster, is it's about happiness and what happiness is, and whether happiness can be a pill or a and what they get to that bit in that scene where they talk about the hormones that make up happiness, which of course we all talk about endlessly nowadays, and people have oxytocin extras and downers on
so
this.
she went back into her thing that she did the last time I think Gordon Smith was writing episodes. This was a joint Gordon Smith and Alison Tatlock episode, both really good writers. Alison Tatlock, she did the whole sort of Googling thing where she started talking about the history of oxytocin and going back into her Alexa mode. And yet, you were like, oh God.
Well, and you really, what you're seeing in the others is not so much happiness as like a permanent state of calm.
Yes, Jemima was talking about this, isn't it? It's the equanimity of just the sort of contentment, the absolute flat contentment, no joy, no peaks of anything, just sort of steady.
No laughter.
Flatness.
I was very happy this episode because laughter came back in a big way.
It did. That last episode, it was missing a bit. There was
all the translation stuff.
The translation stuff was fantastic. And they imagine them doing that. Imagine them doing the timing for that as recording it. Would have been just incredible. Very, very funny.
They've played a lot with that. Again, the sound guy. There were a few moments, standout sound moments, where you had the singing in the Peruvian village
that then went silent.
Yeah.
And you knew, and everybody, we all knew. We were talking about it. Henry was saying, as soon as she turns, they're all just going to go silent, aren't they? They're all going to walk away. And it's that thing that comes back again and again with this show, where you're watching it, you kind of know what's going to happen, but their delivery of what happens is still gripping. Like, it's the opposite of that fucking show that we watched.
Easy.
Sorry, but that it makes me, it pisses me off.
Children might be watching.
Yeah, okay, ho ho ho. So the opposite of that show we were watching with the whatever it was called. I probably shouldn't say what it was called, but there was a show that everybody's talking about that's on Netflix, and we watched, and it felt like it had been written by AI, and we knew everything was going to happen. It just felt sort of so tedious.
Whereas this, you sort of know what's going to happen, but it keeps surprising you.
Somehow you want to keep watching, and yet nothing's happening. I mean, really.
Well, and so let's
weird.
get down to basics of, like, do we know anything more? Like, you know, are we any more informed about the world from this final episode? And, like, how do we feel about that? Well, like, we know a few things. We know that they've. It was an
information low episode.
They are working on the stem cell stuff, and
that's true.
We
saw that amazing Andean scene that was filmed presumably just outside Albuquerque.
Yes.
And that village, and then she breathes it in. She's had the thing synthesized from her stem cells, and then she breathes it in, and she turns, and so you got to see the mechanism by which Carol. That sort of made it real that this is a real, clear and present threat to Carol and Manousos.
Yes.
And they're particularly Carol.
So there's some jeopardy. And people
in the comments had figured out about the eggs episodes ago.
Yeah.
We got some smart people in the comments that kept guessing future things.
Well, somebody wrote in and said, you know, Vince Gilligan doesn't leave details to, you know, they're never in there for not a reason.
Yes, Somebody else was questioning why we're obsessed about the dogs and obsessed about the old people. And it's like, if things have been left out of this show, it's for a reason. Yeah. And that scene where the goat goes after the girl and she doesn't care about the girl. Like, they're staging so much all the time.
Exactly. That whole thing of, like, if the dog really loves you, it'll stay with you. And then that poor little goat.
Yeah, the dog was being put on. This is, it comes back to our discussion from last episode. The dog was being put on for Carol to make her feel better, I think. And I think that the truth of their lying, as we finished, somebody said, but they've been lying to her. They've done this without permission. Is that consistent with them not lying? But it's all a sin of omission. I remember when I stayed in a hostel in San Francisco, and there was a guy. We were 4 to a room, and there was a very Christian guy from Texas there, and he had on the wall a whole bunch of. You're scared about where I'm going with this, but there's on the wall. There's a whole bunch of different things that he had to go to, and I think he was struggling with a number of different things, which is why he came to San Francisco, and he was working in the Gap, and it was very at odds with his life back home. But he had this sort of explanation of sins of commission and sins of omission on the wall of his quite seedy hostel. Sins of commission and sins of omission.
Right.
Like sins that you do and sins that you omit. And they're prepared to just not tell her about the eggs.
Yes.
And that's completely consistent. And then segueing into, but we love you, Carol.
Yes.
It's because we love you.
And that's the final, it feels to me that's
felt very
the final
religious.
Straw for her.
Yeah.
Because she's been.
On top of Zosha saying to her, we love you.
I love you.
Oh, that was awful. Why was that so awful? It was so awful.
But I think she has, as we know, her trauma is that she went to this conversion therapy where presumably she had a kind of group of people saying, we know what's best for you and we love you and we're going to help you through this.
Yeah.
So she's felt that before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's so interesting is when Manousos turns up, he's like a whole nother level of suspicious and distrusting.
Yeah. But it's brilliant, isn't it? It's like that colour contrast thing. It's like he's turned up.
Yeah.
And you remember where Carol was right at the beginning.
Yes, exactly. And he's meeting her and she's not where she was.
As we said last episode, she's got something to lose now.
Yes.
She's got Zosha to lose, particularly.
Well, and she's got her lonely, she was
went
so
through
lonely, wasn't she? And then,
Well, she had nothing. She had no way to continue.
Yeah.
She had Casanova and Werner telling her that they were all in a group chat without her.
Yeah.
And then she was back home and there was nobody and nothing. And he had a mission to get there. I loved his... Hello, everybody. I loved his when he, under his breath, he went, blah, 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 blah. And the Google Translate went, 9,000 kilometers for this shit. Because he was trying to get the phone out.
That was actually one of the best
that was great.
jokes. There were some good jokes.
There were some good jokes.
Oh my God. So were there any details that we can dive into about, what have I written? Ownership, jealousy, anger. So coming into the thing of what makes us human.
Yeah.
You know, again, there was another moment right in the middle of this where you just start to really feel like, Carol, come on, you're a bad person. When she leaves Manousos. You know, and when she kind of is like, Zosha's mine. So there's all this stuff of property, theft, kind of her ownership of Zosha.
Well, so I was really struck in that group setting of watching it again, of people's reaction to Carol. As she was doing that, they were like, "Oh, Carol, you're a bad lot. Oh, Carol, no. Oh, she's a bad person." And I was like, I'm Team Carol here. I felt very sympathetic
but
to her.
maybe we had to feel that because where we're getting to in this episode is actually, no, these guys are sinister. Yeah. And Manousos is right, and you need to beat these.
No, they are literally going to take her soul, and we were made to feel that by the Kusumayo episode at the beginning with the girl who you know, essentially has her soul taken. Yeah. And
with a whole staged Peruvian village with all the singing and
they've put it all on for her.
Yeah, and then they just clean it all up. So there's a real logistical question that I think Jemima brought up, which is, firstly, how come everywhere they go in the world it's pristine and perfect? Is it that the others are turning up and making it pristine and
how
perfect?
Are these places? So I think it's not been long enough for things to get that messed up. Yeah. But she pointed out that actually things get a bit messed up, like the gondola, the place up on the hill, all of that stuff. That does feel like it's been tended to. Does feel like places are being tended to.
Well, it makes you feel like these, you know, fancy suites in Vegas. And, you know, again, if we're thinking about very rich and the rest of the world. Yeah. What I really want to know, because do you remember when Zosha first flew off? And I love the fact that she comes back in a helicopter. Oh, yeah. So they're kind of wrapping up the series with the flying.
Starts flying and then comes back in a helicopter.
But that, you know, we were in a kind of biblical setting. It was quite chaotic.
And interestingly, biblical setting, we didn't really talk about Join This Circle. Yeah. She then reveals, I mean, presuming that they are telling the truth, that she's from Poland, which is where the actress is from. Yes. But she wasn't to start in Poland, she started in the Lavande. No. So she came out as a kind of Jesus figure in rags, basically, in a kind of robe.
So I think we're going to figure I feel like there's more to the world than we're seeing, obviously, and also that maybe these very fancy places. I mean, everywhere they've gone, if you think about it, is like a fancy restaurant, a posh hotel. It's all that life of the uber rich. They can sail through. They never have any problems. Everything's put on for them. Yeah. Isn't that the dream? Isn't that what we all want? Yeah. And yet the kind of soullessness of those places. That's kind of what we're really feeling, is that if there's no resistance and kind of debate or ability for someone to disagree with you, it's like, what is that? Yeah.
I mean, I think the only time that I can think immediately jumps to mind that you see that level of sort of service around people is watching Succession, where these just brats just walk through the world with all of this stuff on, and they just don't even see it. It's just all part of the background of their lives in just such an ordinary way.
Yeah, and yet this is kind of posed as a kind of communist ideal, you know, where but and yet it's set against that. I think there's something very interesting around that. That's like, what's really happening, and where are they in all these halls lying down?
Well, as discussed in the comments, I think, you know, they've obviously, and as revealed by Zosha in the last episode, they're obviously building a giant satellite. I know you said last episode you were not super interested in that, but they obviously are building
quite interested
big. That's what they're doing. Their aim is not really. Their aim is just propagation of the message out to another world, to convert more worlds into this kind of flat affect.
And then what?
No, I mean, I think it's like a virus. It's like a disease. It is what it is. Its purpose is to empty things out and spread.
There was a good thing in the comments. Thank you again. YouTube has been exploding.
I wish we could just having been so rude about YouTube comments because they were so rude to begin with. This week's YouTube comments have been just fantastic, and so many people watching. Finally, YouTube's been turned on the algorithm, and so many thoughtful comments. Thank you very much.
So we've got.
I wish we could hear your voices right now as we talk. I wish you could chip in.
Like,
we could just be silent and
on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. I wish we could sit here. I can imagine if I'm sitting here listening to this, I would be just talking back to the radio.
Tam Morley Dunn. Hi, Kate and Ru.
Yeah.
After the last conversation, I had to rewatch Invasion of the Body Snatchers 70s version, and the scene at the lab with the man cleaning the floor has to be a nod to this film. The thing I love about sci-fi movies is the subtle detail of invasion as the film's process. So, process. It's like Carol Sturcker.
Yes, Carol.
No name.
So good.
So can you speak to some of that? Because I've missed some of your geekiness this episode. In terms of like, because I felt this time round that this episode was the first episode I was like, oh, this is about invasion of the body. It's that it's much more than just some people come in to Carol's life. So what?
Well, I said in response to Tam, that I'd been meaning to watch that and a number of other things as we've been watching, but this has taken all of the time that has not been taken by working and breathing. But I think I'm quite interested now that it's over to take some of that time to watch some of those old things and see how they differ. I think that we talked a bit about Invasion of the Body Snatchers right at the beginning. There's a 50s version and a 70s version, and they both speak to different anxieties that were going on in America at those times, and there was a Red Scare in the 50s, and there was a lot of Hollywood commentary about that was either playing on it or working against it. There's a whole history of Hollywood screenwriters who were largely left-leaning, who were blacklisted for writing. There's a set of writers who were blacklisted for being socialist, essentially, and they were much longer history than I can talk about now. They were
writing about capitalism as an invasion of society, rather than the opposite way.
Yeah, around. They were writing about issues of, if you take, I'm not going to name films because I'm going to get things wrong, there are films that are about working people and about the tension, about Marxist ideas being explored through entertaining films. Yeah, and the Americans were terrified of that. I mean, there's certainly not all Americans, obviously. There were some people in charge who were terrified about that, and there was a committee that was set up. Anyway, skipping past all the details of the history, which is not this place to go into, the 50s one was appeared in the kind of, I guess, in the context of that, and it was about a pod that landed from space and essentially converted all these people into a hive mind of thoughtless people who just wanted to absorb other people, very much like this. But they were very much a threat, and there was a speech by the doctor in that I think I talked about before, where he said, he talked about just how wonderful it is not to feel anything anymore, not to feel emotions and humanity. Yeah. But interestingly, what's different with this is the pitch for this is to feel love. In the 50s one, the speech that I remember from 20 years ago, last time I saw it probably, is that it's all about, it's great not to feel love anymore. You don't feel love, and you don't feel anger, and you don't feel
pain.
And what, from my Buddhist training, the kind of base ground consciousness that you learn about in that, and in lots of mystical religious traditions, is that the base ground consciousness is full of love, but it's a very it's a terrible word that I can never find, but equanimity, it's an even-mindedness of love. It's a deep, rich love, and it is,
yes, because
hear lamas talk about it. They talk about it being ecstatic because you experience it in a kind of ground state. It's an infinite, empty sort of universal state that is everything. That is the mind. What I feel like they're talking about here is just the contentment we were talking about earlier, and it's
but they do say, don't they? We love Manousos as much as we love you. Right, that's one of the first breaking moments, because she's like, I want the love.
Yeah. You can't. That was funny. Everybody laughed at that because of the idea that, oh my God, what a terrible threesome. That's not what I thought. But it just like it felt like a sort of it felt like a sort of terrible transgression of their relationship between the two of them.
Hilariously, my 83-year-old mother said, "Do you think Carol's going to fall in love with Manousos?"
She's going to watch this. But
I don't know. Sorry, Mum, to keep calling you 83, but I went on a very long walk with you today, and I was really impressed. So that was why. But I think that, and then that's
But that's what TV. Do you remember that? Just side track on this.
Yeah.
If you haven't watched the TV series episodes, I haven't watched a lot of it. You've watched it all. There's a fantastic episode where Matt LeBlanc is playing himself. Joey from Friends, the actor who plays Joey from Friends, is playing himself.
Oh yeah.
And he takes. What's his name? Stephen, the British actor, who's
yes.
like one of the main leads, and that he and Tamsin Greig are playing the Stephen Mangan, and that he and Tamsin Greig are playing the writers of this show that's being taken to America, and Matt LeBlanc is the main character, and they want to keep the authenticity of the British version. It's like The Office being taken to America, and one of the characters is gay, and Matt LeBlanc takes him to Vegas and persuades him that he's got to be bi. She's got to be able to have it off with lots of people. And they just think they think Matt LeBlanc is the worst person in the world. And he persuades him in this sleazy setting. I think it's
because
Vegas.
No one's going to watch it.
Because he's like, you just make 6 episodes. In England, you make 6 episodes of things, and that's it. You're done. We're going to make 6 seasons of 22 episodes.
Yes.
And by the time you get to the middle of season 3, you are going to thank me for making her bi, because she can finally have it off with somebody else. And anyway, I don't know, your mum's comment about the idea of Carol going off with Manousos made me think of that.
Yeah,
the idea of like, no, I think there's some constraints here about who she's going to be pairing off with. And
yet there's going to develop a relationship for sure. I think that's what's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
And we all saw it last episode. We were all like, oh, Carol and Manousos, what a pair.
Yeah.
And in a way, lots of this episode was like, oh, Carol, no, just what?
Yeah.
But those kind of moments of, again, quite moving, the moment where she finds the device under the drinks cabinet and it's Helen who's been monitoring her drinking.
There's
and that
so
kind
many
of idea
little
of
moments in the show
how
that
much
just
you
make
actually know about someone,
Yes.
and that terrible kind of truth of grief that, you might find out stuff afterwards that
I think the writing of that stuff is quite understated.
Yeah.
They did leave you as the viewer to do quite a lot of work on that. And
I quite want to know what
powerful for it.
Manousos did in a former life, because he's like...
Oh, he ran a storage unit and fixed his MG.
Did more than... I mean, look at him with the frequencies. And so what's going on there is that... for me, even though I've never watched any sci-fi,
right.
I'm like, next season is going to be all about them trying to save people, and then maybe getting a little band, and then they're going to be racing around the country trying to...
Yeah.
Or like they're going to beam that frequency out. I don't know.
I thought about 2 things when I saw about that. I was like, how convenient that one of the men who's alive has got a shortwave radio, and he's scanned through and he's found the exact frequency that the others are communicating on. Yeah. I was like, that feels a little too convenient. And I was in my back of my mind, very briefly, I was thinking, when does this happen in other films? I was thinking about other films that I love. And I was thinking about radio operators and kind of similar people who have specific technical skills that turn up to be just right at just the right time in films. And and the first thing that jumped to mind was the radio operator in Where Eagles Dare, which is one of my favourite films, who dies immediately. As soon as they jump out the plane, he's killed. And then Richard Burton, it's not a problem, because Richard Burton just takes over operating the radio. And actually, in a way, anyway, the radio thing made me think of that.
Well, but maybe it's a bit of a hoax in that, like, there's the idea. In fact, my brother said, "Wow, Manousos is really hardworking," because Carol's like flying around the world, skiing, having a lovely time, and he's like reading. He's learning.
He's looking up the technology of standing waves. He wants to create an interference at that frequency that will interrupt the others talking to each other.
Okay.
And standing waves are an incredible other thing, which we could do a whole show about. But
how do you know what a standing wave is?
Well, because in places like Maze Howe, in the ancient burial site named after us, in north of in Orkney.
Yeah.
There are these places. There are specialists. This is great. There are specialists in ancient sound design of like prehistoric Neolithic spaces that were designed with and they're called archaeoacoustic specialists, like ancient acoustic specialists, and they there are spaces you can go in and chant, and it creates standing waves where when you move through the space, the sound disappears because it cancels itself, because a standing wave basically, so you can be chanting and
so
it can be really loud in one place and dark in another.
The sound,
right.
The sound bowl, the singing at the beginning.
Right, all the singing.
Yeah.
There's a whole sound radio element, and what I think Amanda or somebody else was asking about. It's like, what does it sound like in their heads? Yeah. Like, what that this radio frequency that's going on? And so she was like, oh, it's an electrostatic kind of communication method, blah 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 blah. But there clearly is a sort of communication. But I think what Manousos is doing is going to try and create a standing wave that will cancel out or create spaces for them where they will
to remember
that'll
who
be
they
interrupted.
Are.
And maybe there'll be spaces where they can bring them where they are disconnected
and then all
from the hive.
Run because like they're all just going to fight each other. I mean, you know, one of the things that's happening with
that was
Manousos
great
with his
when they turned
machete.
Up when all the others had gone and it was just the last two people who were there to and they couldn't collaborate. They just stood there. Come into my house. No. Come into my ambulance. No. That was incredible. That was like, oh, here's humanity. Okay, great. Perfect.
Yeah, that is, I mean, it very much is. Here's humanity. Wow. My mind's blown now by the kind of connection of all the singing and the sound waves and the...
Yeah.
And the idea of vibrational frequencies running through them.
Yeah, it's your thing.
It's my thing.
What's the answer about how much more sci-fi it has to get next series? Like in terms of the sci-fi stuff, and you saying this doesn't feel like sci-fi.
Well, in a funny way, I feel like the setup's been so good. I could cope.
You could take a bit more.
That kind of thing where they're having the fits and then they're going in between and out of consciousness. I'm interested. I think. Whoa! I just had a lovely moment. The idea of the like when you're hearing this translating things into multiple languages. Similarly, the people going in and out of consciousness, and possibly that Rick might have, you know, we were longing for Rick to suddenly go, hello.
Yes, it's true.
Where's my wife?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of interested. I like the idea of. I've always liked that idea of frequencies.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you're on a radio and you dial World Service or whatever, and you get to hear all the different frequencies and different people speaking different languages. I'm kind of interested. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Is to kind of for them to interrupt whatever, because it is otherwise it's like a horrendous monoculture. Like it's the worst kind of monoculture, even beyond monoculture. That is this. Just literally people making restaurants look really fancy. I mean,
yes,
do you know what I mean?
And like, getting together so they can build an antenna to send the message onwards, and then starve themselves to death. I mean, it's pretty dark. That and the disappearance of that. I mean, it was like we've talked a bit about colonialism and other things.
No culture, because.
But that moment at which she joined, and then just like all of the language, all of the sound, all of the dress, all the village just stopped. Yeah. Like we've been around some places where. That happened in real life in the past, with the interference of particularly the British and the church, and that was immediately what I thought of. Then I thought about those places in
British
in
Columbia.
Northwest Canada,
exactly.
It was just erased.
Yeah.
But it is.
So do you think there is a sort of domination?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's what she's been lulled away from and wants to.
It would be exciting if in season 2 we get to see the Levant or like all these different places. And
you think they might travel?
I feel maybe that'd be cool. Carol and Manousos in space.
You believe that?
Look at me, I'm a convert.
Not into space. Surely not into space.
No, but
anyway.
Well, but we've got a long time to wait.
We've got a long time to wait.
And it's Christmas Eve.
If
Father
we can
is
think
going to be flying through the sky.
I do hope that you will. If we post more episodes after this, we do catch ups. We might watch again and do some, not comment on every episode, but just like see what it feels like. What else we do? Oh, I don't know if it can be more thoughtful than this, Kate. But go through what we learned from watching it again and what we see. I mean, what I've deliberately done. I've listened to a bit of the official podcast. But I've turned off from listening to all of the theories on You probably don't even know, but I don't know how much you get through
no,
Reels.
I don't.
So probably nothing on Reels, but TikTok's just full of, like, whenever you look on TikTok about Pluribus, it's just full of people coming up with theories explaining stuff that have just turned out to absolutely not be true.
Yeah.
You know, as far as I can see. Like, it's just kind of wild stuff. It's not like this kind of discussion. It's like short hit kind of, what's really going on? Stuff. And
it's all about the donuts.
Maybe I'm bigging us up too much, but I think we have a slightly different vibe going on here. But it is, and YouTube. So maybe it'd be interesting to watch back on some of that stuff.
We could watch back. We might do a live stream. Yep. Please put your comments in everywhere you can put comments.
Go to Apple Podcasts. Please go to Apple Podcasts and give us some 5 stars or some stars, and some reviews. That would be much appreciated. I know it's difficult. It makes a big difference in people finding us. Did you know that there are other more popular American podcasts about Pluribus than us, involving young men talking excitedly about Pluribus? Yeah.
What are you saying?
You're
saying that I'm a niche.
I'm saying we are niche, and we really appreciate your joining us.
Yeah. Join us.
And
Carol Sturker.
Yeah, let's keep chatting.
Yeah. We're thinking of doing another podcast in the new year, but it'll
be a while. It's going to be about something else, and it'll be a while because we've got to write it first. It's actually a different thing. Maybe we'll make another podcast about another show.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like my heart belongs to Pluribus now.
Yeah.
I think I just wanted to say, because it's the
funny?
season.
Do you know, isn't that funny?
Cheers to the amazing creative team.
Yes, absolutely.
Who've sweated life and, just kind of worked hard to create a world that feels
They did an amazing... I mean, they're obviously an incredible team, been working together for almost 20 years and have all of their relationships and attention to detail, but they've just done such an incredible job at making it... just the attention to detail.
We finally got into one of the neighbours' houses. Anyway, we've got to end.
Yeah. But cheers
you
to them.
always said that they built that cul-de-sac for a reason.
Yes.
Like we've got to come back there.
And also, I think it's in it, that we've talked about directors and writers as we've gone along. We've sort of stopped talking about the performance quite so much. But Ray Seahorn has carried this show almost entirely by herself.
Yes.
And so in a really difficult way. She's not Claire from Modern Family. Do you know what I mean? She hasn't got like a relatable, funny, lovable.
She's a kind of unlikable character.
Really, and it's quite an achievement. I think. I really hope she gets awards for it, even though the awards are largely bought and meaningless. But I hope she gets recognised for it, and I hope that they all do.
All of them do.
Yeah, it's really an incredible thing. Cheers.
Happy holidays Christmas. And happy Christmas and
Happy New Year. Thanks
happy
for sticking with us.
2026. I think I'm glad we live in this world.
As opposed to
the joining. I think it's been like lots of people have been saying how hard 2025 has been.
Yeah, it's been hard.
I think it's been very, very hard.
This has definitely sweetened the end of it
for a lot of people, and this has sweetened the end of it. And maybe by remembering that our broken, fragile, cross bits of us are also what make us human. It's not bad to be reminded of that every now and again.
That's true. That is true.
Cheers.
Here's to being human. Happy Christmas. See you again. Maybe in a year and a half. Maybe sooner. Bye.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. This is when your music starts. Bye.
All together
I'm feeling such a happy song, just singing and laughing and playing my day along. And oh, why don't you sing along with me? Why don't you sing, you'll see. You're gonna be happy, 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 happy.